Students, in this video I'm going to talk about the decision making process. First of all, decision making is nothing but the process of choosing a solution from available alternatives. Decision making process involves following steps. First step is to define the problem. Second step is to identify all limiting factors. For example, the resources like information, time, personnel, equipment, supply, and any other limiting factors. Third step is to develop potential alternatives. For example, by brainstorming or maybe using nominal group technique or Delphi technique. Then after that, all the alternatives are analyzed in terms of their pros and cons, and then maybe a cost benefit analysis could be done. Then after that, evaluate each alternative in terms of its feasibility, whether it can be done or if the solution is feasible or not. Then see how the alternative solutions, how each alternative solution is effective, and also for each alternative evaluate the consequences, either in terms of financial or non-financial aspects, both to the organization and its environment. Then, after analyzing the alternatives, select the best alternative and then implement the decision, and also establish a control and evaluation system before the decision is implemented. Then, moving on to group decision making, groups can do a much better job than individuals in two important steps of the decision making process that you saw in the previous slides, especially in the problem definition step and in the step where you require generating alternative solutions. And there are 4 reasons why groups are much better in these two for making better or for defining the problem much better or coming up with more alternative solutions. The first reason is because group members usually possess different knowledge, skills, abilities, and experiences. Group are able to Groups are able to view problems from multiple perspectives, and that will help in actually defining the problem much better and coming up with better and more alternative solutions. Second reason is that groups can find and access much more information than can individuals alone. Third reason is that the increased knowledge and information available to groups make it easier for them to generate more alternative solutions. Fourth reason is that if groups are involved in decision making, group members will be more committed to making chosen solutions work. Then, moving on to the group decision making techniques, you have seen in the earlier slides three different techniques: nominal group technique, Delphi technique, and brainstorming. So, we will go a little bit into detail of each of them. To talk about nominal group technique, it begins with what is called quiet time, in which group members are asked to independently write down as many problem definitions and alternative solutions as possible. After they do that, the group leader then asks each group member to share one idea at a time with the group. Then, as they are read, ideas are then posted on flip charts or wallboards for all the members to see. Then this step is continued until all ideas have been shared. Okay. In the next step, the group could then discuss the advantages and disadvantages of all the ideas that are posted. Then next step or the final step is again another quiet time in which group members are asked to independently rank the ideas presented by each member, and the group members are then asked to read their rankings and the idea with the highest average rank is selected. That means after each members read out their rankings, the average rank is calculated for each of the solutions, and then the one with the highest average rank is selected. Now, Delphi technique. In case of Delphi technique, a panel of experts is made to respond to questions and also to each other until an agreement is reached on an issue or a problem. The first step is to assemble a panel of experts. However, it is not necessary to bring the panel members together in one place. The second step is to create a questionnaire consisting of a series of open-ended questions to be asked to the experts. For example, one question could be, if you had one piece of advice to give to the engineering students, what would it be? So, open-ended questions are such questions to which you can have multiple answers. Closed Close-ended questions are those questions to which you can have one single answer. Like for example, what is your name? So my name is so and so. It's finished. Just one question. Just one answer. Then in the third step, the panel members' written responses are analyzed, summarized, and fed back to the panel members again for their reactions. And this is repeated again and again until the panel members reach an agreement, and that becomes the final solution. Then brainstorming is one in which group members can build on others' ideas. Unlike in the nominal group, in the brainstorming technique, each person shares his or her ideas to the group openly, whereas in case of nominal technique there was a quiet session. It began with quiet session where each individual members were asked to uh, come up with as many alternatives as possible independently. But in case of brainstorming, each member is asked to share their ideas directly. Uh, and then other members take turn listening to the earlier members, and that is how uh, group members can build on ideas that were already shared by the previous members. So it is a technique for generating a large number of alternative solutions. Brainstorming has 4 rules. So if you use brainstorming techniques, it is important to uh, uh, use these 4 rules. So you in brainstorming, you must allow as many ideas as possible to be uh, shared by each member. You should not restrict, no matter how wild or crazy they might seem. So all ideas must be accepted. Uh, Other group members' ideas should be used to come up with even more ideas. So that is why in the first bullet point you saw or heard that brainstorming technique is one in which group members can build on others' ideas. So the members would actually present their ideas later than those who present their ideas before should be encouraged to build on or come up with even more ideas, and criticism or evaluation of ideas is not allowed while it is being presented. Okay. Then in your syllabus there is a mention of uh, analyzing decision alternatives under certainty, risk, and uncertainty. So, to talk about that, managers uh, usually have to make decisions under three different conditions, that is, certainty, risk, and uncertainty. So, a manager happens to make a decision under certainty condition when he or she has perfect knowledge of all the information needed to make a decision. And in this case, the challenge is simply to study the alternatives and choose the best solution. In this situation, normally solutions are available from past experiences and are appropriate for the problem at hand. Uh, Sometimes managers will have to make a decision under a condition in which the managers lack complete information of the problem, and this condition is more difficult. So, a manager may understand the problem and the alternatives, but may not uh, have guarantee on how each solution will work. So, managers in this case uh, face problems when new and unfamiliar problems arise, and decisions are specifically tailored to the situations at hand. Or, in other words, decisions will have to be specifically tailored to the situations at hand. And the information requirements for defining and resolving uh, such problems are typically high in case of risk condition. Uh, then most problems faced by higher level managers uh, comes under the decision making under risk condition. So this fact explains why there is a demand on a manager's conceptual skills as he or she moves into higher levels of managerial responsibility. Then the condition under which another condition under which managers will have to make decision is uncertainty condition. So in this case, when the information is so poor that managers cannot even assign probabilities to the likelihood of the outcomes of alternatives. So this condition is the most difficult condition for a manager to make decision. So uncertainty actually forces managers to rely or depend uh, heavily on creativity in their own creativity in solving problems, and it may require unique and often totally innovative alternatives to existing processes. And when a manager is faced with uncertainty conditions, groups are frequently used for problem solving in such situations. Under these conditions, or this condition happens when problems are most often unanticipated and require novel solutions. Now, moving on to the decision making styles. There are three most common decision making styles or models. Number one, rational or logical decision making style, intuitive decision making style, and predisposed decision making style. In case of rational or logical decision making style, uh, the managers focus on facts and reasoning. The decisions are based on uh, facts and reasoning or logic. When a manager uses intuitive decision making style, then these managers are called gut decision makers, and they rely on their feelings about a situation rather than facts and figures or reasons or logic. In case of predisposed decision making style, a manager decides on a solution first, and then tries to gather materials to support the decision. In the case of predisposed decision making style, decision makers usually do not search out all possible alternatives because a manager would have already decided on a solution, and he or she only tries to gather the materials or facts and figures to support that or those solutions. Okay, so I'll stop here. Thank you.